In 1987, every nurse at Mercy General Hospital followed an unspoken rule. It wasn't written anywhere. It wasn't enforced by administration. It was a quiet, solemn understanding among the night shift staff: never enter floor 7 alone. There were whispers, rumors passed down during shift changes, hushed warnings about things that moved when no one was watching, things that didn't belong to the living. Everyone respected the rule, everyone except Elena Vargas. Elena was a new transfer from a nearby hospital, experienced, rational, and dismissive of superstition. On her third night shift, she arrived just before 2 a.m., coffee in hand, charts under her arm, ready to finish rounds quickly and head home. But at 1:59, a call light activated on floor 7. The nurses on duty warned her, voices low, warning her not to go. But Elena was confident. She had handled emergencies, she had seen accidents, she had seen trauma far worse than this. A blinking light was nothing. She would check the room and move on. Floor 7 was officially under renovation. Maintenance records said no patients had been assigned for years. Yet, on every night shift, lights flickered in the hallways. Doors opened slightly on their own. Footsteps echoed where no one was walking. And in the center of room 714, a vintage chrome wheelchair sat, always perfectly positioned, always facing the window. Some nurses swore it moved on its own, rolling silently down the hallway when no one was looking, or inching closer whenever someone blinked. But no one could explain it. No one wanted to. At 2 a.m., Elena stepped onto floor 7. Security footage, grainy and flickering, shows her passing the elevator doors and moving down the long, dimly lit corridor. The overhead lights hummed and flickered as she approached room 714. The hallway was silent. Not quiet, but heavy, oppressive, the kind of silence that presses against your chest and makes your ears ring. And there it was, the wheelchair, centered in the corridor, facing her, leather seat dark and worn, the spoked wheels glinting in the pale overhead light. She walked slowly, her shoes scraping lightly against the tile floor. Her hand hovered over the chair, instinctively gripping the metal armrest. It didn't move. Nothing happened. She circled it, inspecting it from every angle, calling softly into her radio, but only static replied. The chair remained still, serene almost, but there was a weight to it, a presence that pressed down on the air. Then, for a fraction of a second, she blinked. And when her eyes opened again, the chair had moved slightly closer. Not dramatically, not aggressively, just enough to make her freeze in place, her pulse hammering in her ears. Elena kept her eyes locked on it. Every time she blinked, the chair inched closer, inch by imperceptible inch. She whispered, "This isn't real. This can't be real," but the words sounded hollow. The silence pressed in. Her breathing became visible, fogging in the cold air of the abandoned wing. She tried to reach for her radio again, adjusting the earpiece with one hand. She turned her head for just a single second, and that was her mistake. The footage glitches briefly, the grain flickering like static. When it stabilizes, Elena is sitting in the wheelchair. Her posture is perfect, her hands resting naturally on the armrests. Her eyes are open, but unfocused, blank, as if she had been there for hours. The chair rotates slowly, deliberately, facing room 714. It glides forward on its own, smooth, silent, almost respectful in its movements. And then, the door closes behind her. By itself. No force, no hands. Just an impossible motion that defies explanation. The official story, as released by hospital administration, is simple. Elena Vargas resigned effective immediately. No further comment. No police report. No missing person investigation. Floor 7 was permanently sealed within months. Administrators cited financial instability and renovations. But those who worked the night shift know the truth. 3 more incidents occurred on that floor, each involving the wheelchair, each occurring at exactly 2 a.m., each leaving the staff shaken to their core. The hospital eventually closed entirely, but the stories persisted, whispered among former nurses, passed down during reunion visits, written off as legend by outsiders, but very real to those who had seen it firsthand. Years later, urban explorers broke into the abandoned building. Floor 7 remained untouched, dust thick on the floor, paint peeling from the walls. Yet, among the decay, they noticed something odd: wheel tracks. Fresh, as if someone or something had just rolled through the hallway. Inside room 714, the chrome wheelchair was still there, positioned in the center of the room, facing the doorway. The leather seat had a noticeable indentation, deep enough to suggest a human form had just occupied it. Explorers reported feeling a presence, a subtle pressure on their shoulders, a faint chill brushing past them, always when they blinked or turned briefly away. Some swore the wheelchair inched forward while they weren't looking, moving silently across the floor as if guided by invisible hands. The final archived security clip from 1994, never released publicly, remains the most disturbing evidence. It shows, time-stamped 1:58 a.m., that the wheelchair was already in the hallway waiting. And Elena was already sitting in it, smiling. Not in fear. Not in distress. She had apparently recognized the chair, accepted it, and become part of its cycle. The footage cuts to black, leaving nothing but the faint squeak of spoked wheels echoing in the empty corridor and the oppressive silence that followed every night at exactly 2 a.m. Locals now warn, if you ever find yourself in an abandoned hospital, particularly one with a floor no one talks about, and you see a wheelchair positioned oddly in a hallway or room, do not approach. Do not investigate. Do not blink if it seems to move. Because in hospitals like Mercy General, the chair isn't just a chair, it's a sentinel. It waits. Patient. Calculating. Hungry for the next person who disregards the rules. And once you're seated, you are no longer the visitor. You have become part of the building. A permanent resident. And so, floor 7 remains sealed, abandoned, yet alive with whispered warnings and unseen movements. The chair still waits in room 714, its leather seat dark, its wheels perfectly poised. And for anyone daring enough to peek through the corridor at 2 a.m., the final image lingers: a nurse, pale, motionless, eyes unseeing, yet watching, smiling just faintly, silently reminding you of the rules you were never supposed to break.